Good morning, viewers. Welcome to Frankly Speaking with Vibhuti Jha. Today is October 30th, and we are looking at a month which has gone by, truly remarkable month, because America has a tradition of celebrating Black History Month, Latino Month, and everything else. But for the first time, perhaps in my memory, there is a Hindu Heritage Month being celebrated almost all over the US. Many states, many counties, many places have declared this as a Hindu Heritage Month. It's very important. It has importance for two reasons. One is the simple fact that we had Navratri, we had Durga Puja, we are going to have Diwali in a few days' time. So it is a very holy time for us. And the declaration of the October as a Heritage Month also is significant from another point of view, and that is that in the previous month, there was a global conference organized to dismantle Hindutva. So back on the heels of it, the most peace-loving community that we have never waged war. We are not a law and order problem anywhere in the world as an immigrant community. We are professionals, we work hard, we contribute to the communities, but we were under the attack of global dismantling. That's the reason why declaration of October as a Hindu Heritage Month must draw extra attention by all of us. That is important. We must take this very seriously. So to discuss this and several other issues related to the program, that little bit of a politics about the Hindu way of life. We are Indians, so we'll talk about India and Indo-Americans. I have the greatest of pleasure to welcome today the owner of ITV. If there is anybody who doesn't know him, let me know. We will send some different kind of a gift for you to know that you don't know Dr. Sudhir Parikh, whom everybody knows all over the US, if not in India entirely. So Dr. Parikh, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
Namaskar. Namaskar to all the viewers. So Sudhirji, the way I want to go about it is explain to you, you are a very loved, very known community activist. And I'm using the word activist in a remarkable positive term because you personify Indian community in the American mainstream. So it's not only the Indians, but even non-Indians who know you professionally and philanthropy and the work that you do. How did you feel about this Hindu Heritage Month or Hindu heritage itself, which has a lot to contribute to the world around us? But have we not been fair to ourselves in telling the world what we are and who we are?
Well, really, now government has decided to celebrate this one as a Hindu Heritage Month. That shows that we arrived. We arrived on the scene of USA. We Hindus, we Indian Americans have arrived. It's a great tribute to us to celebrate our Hinduism, our Indianism, and our Indian Americanism. And I think it's the best thing can happen. This is a platform where we can talk about Hinduism. We can talk about what's good about Hinduism. We can talk about our community's role in the USA or Indian American community, and so forth. So I think it's a great significance to celebrate Indian Cultural Heritage Month, and always by labeling this way a month of October, it's a month which is again has a lot of significance because this is a month traditionally is a festivity or festival month of the Hindu calendar. And as you know that we do celebrate the Navratra and the Sera, which is a kind of symbolism that good wins over the bad. Also, this is a time when we celebrate the Durga Puja. Again, it gives the same message. And also, this is a month where we celebrate a Deepavali, which is festival of lights. And today, and this year, this Deepavali meaning is much more meaningful because now this is a festival of lights over the darkness of pandemic. And pandemic is almost gone. And let's celebrate this festival of lights. And lights will take care of the darkness of the pandemic.
That's very well said. The other part which I wanted to also say that you very correctly pointed out, that this is time for us to talk about our culture, our heritage, and the fact that we have arrived. That's a very important word, that we have arrived. We are being taken cognizance of. So far, a long time ago, a senator once told me that we love you Indians as immigrants to this country. You are professionals, you are hardworking, you have family values, you take care of your children, you are in the highest median income, you work hard, you are a classic example of fulfilling American dream. You are not a law and order problem anywhere in the world, leave aside America, and you ask for nothing. So now the question arises that you ask for nothing is a very critical phrase. We have lived well, we worked hard, and I have seen this happen ever since I came to this country. One, when you were much more younger, and so was I. We were at that time in 1991, the entire first generation of Indians were busy working hard to prove themselves successful in America. Since then, it is 40 years almost, 30 years almost that we have come forward. Now, the point of the matter here is that now we are successful. We have established ourselves. And to that end, your using the word arrived is visible. Indians are visible as one of the most successful communities. It also has led to jealousy and frustration amongst others. That what are these guys doing that they have become so successful and we are not? So, that is something that we need to be cognizant of, and we are not a problem for anyone. Why still then? Why still then? We see a vehement attack made on us by people of vested interests. I won't name anyone here, but and I know the whole world knows who is attacking us. How does one address that scenario? Because unless and until we address a scenario, you are a doctor. If somebody comes with an illness to you, you will cure him. If somebody doesn't have the illness, he doesn't come to you, right? So when we are now knowing that people are attacking us, what should we do? How do we address that challenge?
Well, it is our duty to make sure that we educate and we keep bring the narrative of any subject which end up in attacking us should be corrected. And unless you correct that thing and educate the American population, American in a sense that those who are not Indian American, real American, then the attacks will continue. So I think it's very imperative that we all, association, all the leaders, all the community activists, all the, even including the government of India, should help us to educate a mainstream American population about certain incorrect narratives of the certain subject. For example, swastika. Swastika for us is a very, very sacred, very important symbol of the Hinduism. And our swastika is completely different than swastika of the Germany. So as you know, last year in New York Assembly, they tried to bring the bill against swastika, that swastika is a symbol of the hate. But if we let it go without any opposition, then what would have happened? That our second generation or third generation will be kind of deprived of our Hinduism or symbol of the Hinduism. And gladly, we all work together, work hard, and prevented that thing to happen. So that is a classic example of educating the public, educating the lawmakers, and change the narrative and correct the narrative, not the change, but correct the narrative. And that's only way to uh, fight against this hate crime or discrimination or whatever you call it. And but at the same token, if I see there is a more jealousy or more enviness of against us, that sometime I may jokingly always tell people that if a lot of people envy for me, it means I consider myself more successful. So it means what I'm saying is then we should consider our community is very successful. That's why people are jealous or envious. But there should not be, there is wrong narration. There should not be any hate crime against us. And that is very important.
You said it very well that, if people are jealous, that means we have arrived, as you earlier said. That,
Right.
So people are either jealous of you, because you are too good, or because you are very successful and you have done well in life, people get jealous. It's a normal human sentiment and emotion that people do get jealous. And it happens amongst the rich and the poor both. The rich gets jealous of somebody who is more richer than them.
Right.
So you are living in a $15 million home, somebody is living in $25 million home, and there comes jealousy. So there is nothing you can do about it. So the point is, but very important point that you mentioned is education, right? There are times when you can educate when people ask. But when the challenge becomes, when you are attacked, when people do it deliberately, right? That is the matter of concern. So education will come when we go to the university to get a degree. University doesn't come to you to give you, here, I will give you a degree if you enroll in my course. Yeah, it is a question of a quid pro quo kind of thing. But when we are attacked in a manner without understanding about us, without asking, tell me about this, why do you have a caste system? I will share with you. I have been asked this question many times, ever since 1991. Oh, you guys have a serious caste problem. I said, yeah, we have. We have a caste problem. I'm not denying that. It has existed there, and we are doing a lot about taking care of it by providing them constitutional protection in job security and advancements in career. But I also turn around and ask a counter question by saying that, hey, but my casteism is restricted to the boundaries of India. But what happens in the US in terms of racism is a global challenge, is a global despicable thing. So if you think you have racism, I admit I have casteism. But if you say that your racism doesn't exist, then I have a problem with that. So are you addressing racism as a problem? The answer is yes, but I'm not complaining about it. Every society has a problem of its own kind. Islamic people have a problem of Shia, Sunni, Ahmadiyyas, and Aga Khanis, they kill each other. So how do we address certain issues if we are, how do we take this educational element? That's very close because we have the TV as a media. Today, people are looking and listening to us. So let's take this opportunity to share some of the educational elements that those who are watching and they are non-Hindus and they are non-Indians, how do we explain to them the element of Murti Puja, for example? So this is one of the things that we are attacked equally by Islam and Christianity, that these guys are idol worshippers. They even pray to a rock. So somebody told me about this rock thing, and I said, hey, America had a time when rock stars are called rock stars, right? When even a rock was a pet rock. So, think about it from the perspective. How do we deal with this Murti Puja thing? Because every celebration of ours, every religious element of ours has the element of Murti. Chahe Durga ho, Lakshmi ho, Vishnu ho, Ganesh ho, everybody is a symbolizes in Murti. So how would Sudhir Parikh ji explain Murti, the concept of Murti in Hindu philosophy, that the West must say, okay, it makes sense?
Well, I mean, again, this education should start from the high school, not in university even, because more younger people, younger generation you teach or educate is more impactful. So I would suggest that we must fight for curriculum in the school, where there is a way to understand the other religion. There is a way to understand what is wrong and right, what way to understand why it is so, and that should start from the high school level. And not only that, but nowadays in the medical field, going to give you, since I'm a doctor, I will give you in the medical field. Uh, since last 10 years, or not even 10 years, less than that, now we have, if I want to maintain my medical license to practice medicine, I need to take 2 hours of course, how to deal with the racism, how to deal with the minorities, how to deal with the disabled people, uh, generic education. And this kind of education, we should start in the high school, colleges, university, and we try to uh, make the kind of seminars or courses for this. And that's only way, unless you educate the mass general public, all this thing is going to have a different questions, different interpretation, and including Murti Puja. So unless we educate people at different level, is not going to go away. And of course, it takes time, it takes resources, it takes a lot of coordination, but we must do that.
I totally agree with you. And that's where I would again come back to you with the same proposition. And that proposition is resources are required. One thing which I find, and this is an observation based on what I see, I find that Hindus have one big challenge. And the challenge relates to the fact that even the wealthiest of Hindus seldom fork out money, very few of them fork out money for Hindu causes. And I find that people who are trying to fight some of these causes, they run into a brick wall of wealthy Hindus not supporting. Whereas I find, and I applaud that, I find that people in the Islamic and Christianity, they generously donate, they give, we don't. And that's one of the reasons why resource constraint amongst Hindus is the biggest problem. So let's take one example. Talking about education, how do we address that?
Okay, so let me give my own example. I'm a successful medical doctor with the largest practice of asthma, allergy, immunology, with almost 350 to 400 medical personnel working for me. When I turned 60, I was told, or I was kind of given suggestion by all the our different gurus from India, as well as senators, congressmen, everyone, that you must. My question only one simple question: what should I do after 60 to make a difference? So they say that only thing you can do after 60 is to empower the second generation. Unless you empower the second generation and empower the people at large or mainstream America and so with my own money, without taking any investor into it, because I wanted to do something without having kind of disagreement among the partners or investors, I did myself, and I acquired the print media, and I acquired the TV channel. And today I'm the only media really with the print media, 4 weekly paper, and printed hard copy papers, and the TV channel is in existence in North America. If I decide to retire myself and retire about all these activities, then there is no media is there left except the certain Zoom conference call or something like that. There's nothing really in vast majority in the community, anything to empower the second generation or empower the American community at large. So that's this. So by giving my example, I'm not kind of bragging myself, but what I'm saying is, everyone has, or every wealthy or every well-heeled Indian American should uh, divert their resources, their own personal resources, to help this kind of education. And you are saying that a lot of well-heeled Indians, they are not coming out with the resources, or they don't donate enough. The reason being that you have to get that you have to pitch is kind of labeling or the platform where it appeals everybody. Because if you try to pitch it appeals only hardcore Hindus, then other people will shy away. Not because it's the wrong thing to do, but people feel uncomfortable. So you have to do in a broad sense platform. For example, I had done media. So now my media is open for any kind of discussion, education, or disagreement. So same thing we should do for a larger platform to educate the people. So for example, we did a fight against the swastika, or we did a fight against the dot buster, or we did a fight against so many other things. So that's the way to, and I'm sure now, as compared to where 40 years ago, our community is well held and very successful. So if you ask in correct terminology or fashion or narration, then I think I'm sure our brothers and sisters will help.
I'm very glad to hear that you chose your path, and I think what I'm hearing from you is that each one has his own soft spot or the hot spot that they want to do. You chose the media path and you could do it. That's great. So each one, you are telling everybody, find your path and contribute towards education and upliftment. And I totally agree with you. I'm coming back to your profession, actually. You are in asthma specialty, and you have to do the courses on diversity and all that kind of thing. And I thought all along, and I believe in it, that the physician community in the world, not only in America, they are the most nishpaksh creatures on the planet Earth performing a service. And when I say creatures, I mean to say profession, because I have always said this to anyone, to all my friends, I say, irrespective of caste, community, religious, or color, and everything else, that when you go to a doctor, you go with an ailment. That ailment has no monopoly of any religion or any caste, any color, or anything, right? So anybody who is suffering from asthma, you don't even care whether this person belongs to Islam, Christianity, Hinduism, Buddhism, white, black, Japanese, Chinese. Asthma is asthma. Cancer is cancer. Migraine is migraine. I have always asked this question. So you guys, your profession is ideally placed to banish that ignorance. And I have, in my funny way, I asked this question. Is Islamic cancer any prettier than Hindu cancer? Is Indian migraine any superior to a Christian migraine? Or a Christian ulcer is prettier than anybody else's culture? So I would say, I would urge the entire medical community of the world to step up and educate to the world that whatever God you pray to, when you come to me, I'm your only God. So the point which I'm trying to say to you, education is key. And I think...
Let me tell you, sorry to interrupt, but
No, you go ahead.
Classic example.
It's an open platform for a conversation.
Classic example, because when the COVID vaccine came and government, state government or federal government has hard time to convince half of the American people to get vaccine, right? Half of the people got it right away, but half of the people still kind of dragging their feet to get the vaccine. So I told even our governor of New Jersey, one day when I had a one-on-one meeting with him, I say that the mistake government is doing it right, authority is doing it, is that give the vaccine, of course, to pharmacy is fine, but give it to the doctor's offices. Because any patient of mine, whether he is a conservative or he's a liberal or he's a Democrat or he's Republican or he has some kind of strange notion about vaccine, his doctor, his or her doctor is the best person to convince him or her that vaccine is safe and effective. And I think government failed in that way. And if that's why we have, in spite of we have plenty of vaccine available in America, there are so many dosage are expiring, millions of dosage are expiring without use. And still we are not even at 70% or 80% vaccination, fully vaccinated people here. That shows that along with the vaccine centers, pharmacy for convenience of the patient.
Your video went away.
Yeah, it's some phone call. The doctor's offices, because patient doesn't matter whether he's conservative or liberal or Democrat or Republican, he always have faith in his or her own doctor. So chances of getting convince him to get the vaccine is much more. The same thing, it applies to any education. And so I think, but education is most important to correct any wrong concept, wrong narration, wrong understanding. There's no other way but education, education, and education.
Absolutely correct. And as I said to you that, I personally believe that bankers like me, money has no color, right? It performs identical function throughout the world. It's an accelerator, multiplier to generate business. Likewise, in your case, there is no color of money. There is no god of money. Likewise, sun has no caste, has no religion, has no, race. Sun is equal to everybody. It just has water, air. It is common for everybody. So why is it? And that brings me to a deeper philosophical question to you, because you are professionally very competent. You are mindfully, you are very engaged. Why do people fight? Where does that thing come from? Why do we claim that I'm superior to you? And people try to impose their will on others. That's the main source of conflict in the world today, is that we are all, each one is trying to say, I am better than you and my system is better than you, not realizing that every system has its own origins. Why don't we recognize that a normal child takes 9 months to be born, regardless of whatever religion, whichever country, whichever faith you belong to? No God could change that equation. And we all die because of myocardial infarction. These are common things in the world. Why do people kill and fight on flimsy matters?
Yeah, you're right. I could not agree more than that. So I agree with you 110% that there is no reason why people should fight, why people should have ego, why should people have kind of hang up and all those things. But again, all those things can be corrected by education. So at the end of the day, as you can see that you can hear to any discourse of any guru, whether it's Sri Sri Ravi Shankar or it's a Sadguru or Pramukh Swami or Jain Guru or anyone, at the end, they are saying the same thing. Be good to others. Your behavior has to be the behavior what you expect from the others, towards others, and always reach out to everyone, whether he is more successful than you or less successful than you. And never forget a person who helped you to go upward in the society. You never forget them, and always try to remember them. The reason being remembering them that you are successful then you should also help other people to be successful. And if you follow this, what I'm saying, then believe me, we'll have a perfect world.
The word perfect is a very dangerous one. So there you know it, and I know
almost perfect.
almost perfect one. When studying economics, they used to say, in a perfect economy, but at the same time, the professor would always add, there is nothing like a perfect economy. So in a perfect world, but here is a very important part. And the point which I'm trying to make to you is, beginning from the doctor profession, business-wise and everywhere else, that people indulge in violence, and also because of fear and uncertainty. As a physician, your practice has evolved in the last, since you first practiced asthma treatment till now. Medicine has evolved, engineering has evolved, science has evolved. So in my impression, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, I believe that religion had a base in ignorance and fear of people. Nobody has seen God. No one has seen God. But people claim things in the name of God, right? They issue passport and visas for going to heaven or hell. If you do this, you will go to heaven, you will go to hell, right? I'm asking a very simple question, part of education. Has anybody visited hell or heaven and come back and reported what exists there, right? So my thought process is that there is a reason why people are attacking us, Hindus particularly, is because our philosophy is based on universalism. And we all are same. Our philosophy of Vasudev Kutumbakam is one sun, one earth, same water, same air. We can't, these are life-saving forces. We can't exist without them, regardless of who you pray and what you pray. Do you think there is a school of thought emerging that because of the evolution in science and technology, it is shaking and breaking old held dogmas? And that's what is creating a ripple and uncertainty in those people who were held in dogmatic belief, my way or the only way. Do you think that is the cause of conflict and we seem to be the only evil or the only enemy?
Yes, I agree with you that is the most important cause of all this friction and fight and violence or whatever you call it. And so again, it comes down to education.
Education. That's
so
right.
I suggest, in my suggestion, I was a chief guest at the Hindu Coalition.
Kona. Yeah.
Kona.
Coalition of Hindu Americans.
Right.
Hindus of North America.
During my short speech, I say one thing, that we must, even we Indian American families must kind of have a parental network to instill the value and teach the value of the Hinduism to our own kids. And even our own kids doesn't know what is Hinduism. Not all, but half of them or majority of them. So we parent has to start from our home and teach the kids and teach neighbors' kids and teach kids in the school or friends' kids that what is Hinduism. And as you say, Hinduism believe in inclusiveness. Hinduism is not kind of really is a way of life. Is not like is a religion, really speaking. So unless we correct ourselves first, our community first, then it will be very easy to correct and fight against the outsiders.
It is more than obvious that you are a champion of education. And that shows because I recall you telling me once that you did not come from a wealthy family and that you studied in a lamppost under the light and, in a house. And from that to this, you have done incredible work, and to all the professionals. And not you alone, you deserve kudos for your own achievements, but every Indian who has made its success here. You talked about a very important element, that parents must educate the children. But here is a challenge. In India, if all the first generation Indians who came here, they came with $6 and $8 in their pocket, right? We had no grounding in Hindu teachings in Indian schools and colleges at that time. Even today, it is not. So we came here to achieve material welfare and success professionally and otherwise. We had no grounding in our own education. So we were, as I call it, India-born confused desis. यहाँ पे American आ गए, यहाँ पे successful होना है, that's was the goal. We ended up producing American-born confused desis, the famous terminology that became ABCDs. And consequently, because we did not know, we did not impart education to them, they did not learn, they became Americans, and we are all Hindus in name only.
I think I would not agree with you that way, because 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 that is a kind of excuse not to do anything. So even though we came there, we did not have a real structured curriculum about Hinduism in our school or colleges or anywhere, but we live in the society which is full of Hinduism, which is full of activities about Hinduism, which is full of gurus talking about Hinduism. Obviously, what most of them, it kind of, what do you call, not really good teaching, because they were saying that my way is a good way, other way is not good way. Jain will tell that we are the purest people, and Baniyas are not purest people. And though both are Hindu. So what I'm saying is, whatever happened, but we first generation, after coming here, after being successful, after interacting with the other communities, including American, we learn ourselves what is Hinduism, what is real Hinduism. Hinduism is really good to always to be good to the others, and that's Hinduism in one sentence.
Right.
So we learn that by our own experience. We learn that, right? By working with the other people. So now is our duty to make sure that we teach that one sentence to our kids. If you don't do that, and if you say, oh, kids has their own privacy, their own way of doing, then you are failed. Then whole generation will fail, not now, but 50 years from now or 100 years from now. Just like what happened to Caribbeans. So, Caribbeans, Indians. So they lost their identity, kind of. So that's why I think it's very important that parental network, and whatever you teach them. Suppose if I don't consume drink at home, my son will not drink when he goes older, or will drink much less than, or socially only. So always they learn from the parents how they behave, right? Am I right?
Yes, you are right. Yeah, children learn from parents by observing them and watching them.
Yes, that's a very critical time frame during those middle school and high school level. And therefore, Hinduism teaching has to come from all Hindu families, should do it in their own family, and prepare the young man to fight against the injustice to Hinduism, or wrong thing towards the Hinduism, or hate towards Hinduism.
You are absolutely right. As we will be running out of time, I wanted to touch upon one or two things very clearly, because education has been the root theme of our conversation today. I'm told by students in the campuses, and that Hindu students particularly, Rutgers is one example in New Jersey, where Hindu students are under tremendous pressure, and they are virtually being harassed. And it's not me saying, it is virtually recorded. People are experiencing harassment. Hindu students are facing harassment. How does one address that institutional challenge? Because it's not Rutgers alone. Rutgers I used as an example.
I can tell you how to do that, because that's what exactly used to happen 40 years, 50 years ago when I came to this country in hospitals. Because we were in the minorities. Out of 100 doctors in any given hospital, only 10 were Hindus or Indians. And what we used to do, the wrong thing, is we used to only hang around with our own group. During lunchtime, we eat along with our own group. and we never try to mingle with the other groups. And by not doing that, you had no chance to clarify certain misunderstanding about you by other people. So the same thing is happening here in the college too. Everybody's celebrating. I'm not saying that don't do that, but celebrating Diwali, Holi, and everything among themselves. And you don't do that. You involve other people in your celebration to and make the celebration a little more contemporary in a sense. Go with the time or place where nobody, other people, those who come to your celebration who are not Hindus, should not feel also uncomfortable. Then and then you will see that this kind of blind hate or blind indiscrimination or blind harassment will disappear eventually.
You are right. I mean, I remember 2 years or 3 years ago, pre-COVID at least, I remember my son had gone to a Holi party in Manhattan, and I still have pictures of that. It was a wonderful experience that she shared with us and brought pictures back home where black, white, all kinds of people from every color, every denomination were participating in Holi, and they said, wow, it's so cool. So the point is, you are right about that. At the same time, it's very important to bear in mind, just as there is no Indian Christmas, there is no Japanese Christmas, likewise, we have to maintain the identity of our observations and festivities. So
no, that's true. That's true. That's true. But we have to do it we have to include other people and to
yes,
show them and make them understand that what we are doing and why we are doing it.
and that's right. I mean, all our festivities are good over evil, celebration of success and everything else, which is universal.
Right.
It's not restricted to only Hindus. These celebrations are universal in nature. The last thing that I want to touch upon here is last thing, and that I promise is my last thing, is I notice, recently I came across an article by a professor called Ashutosh Varshney. He's an Ivy Leaguer in Brown University. And he talked about, I'm coming back to the education part. He's an Ivy League professor, very well regarded, on very select committees and, including Lakshmi Mittal Foundation, Family Foundation, supporting his candidature for here, there, and everywhere. He came out with a concept of Jim Crow Hindu nationalism. Now that was so pathetic and so sad that it needed to be rebutted. And we did. The point of the matter remains is that what motivates a person like Ashutosh Varshney, who is not an idiot, he's a sharp guy. That's why he is where he is. So I'm not saying anything about it, but what motivates these people to lay such falsities, such motivated attacks on us as a whole? Do you think, does Dr. Sudhir Parikh think that Ashutosh Varshney is correct in branding Hindu nationalism as Jim Crow scenario? Because in that article that he wrote, he also laid down what made Jim Crow so evil, where if the black man made love to an American white woman, he was to be killed. Things like that. It was so disgusting. Are we that bad? What motivates?
No, we are not. No, I think he's wrong. That Ashutosh is wrong. And I think he should be condemned or corrected. Because otherwise, as I said in the beginning, that anything which is, doesn't matter which faith he is, in which every faith, as you know, the majority of the people are very liberal, very understanding, very inclusive. Only small percentage of people are on other extreme. And those other extreme should not be there in Hinduism either, because other extreme always breeds wrong thing and hate and all those things. So I think anyone who does that, we should try to dispel them and say that, listen, be inclusive, make it more kind of understanding better, and welcome other people. And I think that's the way to do it.
Thank you very much for Sudhir for being
Thank
with
you.
us on the show today. It's your own show. It's your own TV channel. Glad to be part of it. And I'm glad we have shared some, I think, very outstanding thoughts with people to educate and all. So here is the closing part, I would say. I'm reminded of Swami Vivekananda's Avahan, call to all Hindus. And I want all of you to pay attention to that. Those three words that Swami Vivekananda said, that's what education is, what we were talking about. Swami Vivekananda ji said, arise, awaken, and assert. That's the only way you will be able to spread the message of your goodness. That is education. Asserting here, it doesn't mean you take a sword and kill the person if he doesn't agree. Asserting is rationally, logically, mindfully, to reach out to people to do that. And I add the fourth A is Vibhuti Jha's, okay? 3 A's are Vivekananda's, 1 A is mine, and that is act. If you do not act, then no knowledge serves any purpose. What's the point in having a knowledge if you don't act on it? So arise, awaken, assert, and act. That's the message that education can bring about to people. When somebody is wrong, he's wrong. If whether a person comes with asthma to Dr. Sudhir Parikh, I don't think he even asks who you are, where you came from, what color, caste, creed, crew are. He treats the illness. And I would implore upon all the physician communities to spread the message that universally we are all the same. So go ahead, guys. It's a happy
And
Diwali time, happy Dashera, Hindu Heritage Month. Well, there have been dismantling efforts of Hindus, but we will not go away. We will fight, survive, and we will make the world better. So with these words, I say thank you very much. Have a great weekend. Have a great week ahead. Happy Diwali. Dr. Parikh, once again, thank you very much for being with us today.
happy Diwali to everyone, and wish you all the best. And all my Gujarati brothers, sisters, happy New Year and prosperous New Year. And at the end, I would say, Om Santi, Om Santi, Om Santi.